What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talk with Flea. Today's show is sponsored by Pink Horsepower. Fellas, if you're down and out, take a shot of Pink Horsepower. Go on and up and up. No need for the panicking. Pink Horsepower, leave you stiffer than a mannequin. Make sure you go get yours. pink-horsepower.net. Make sure you like and subscribe to the You're Welcome Network. We're almost at 80,000 subscribers. Listen, I really appreciate the love, y'all. Really do. On today's show, I have a real good friend of mine. He's a writer. He's an author. He's an actor. Make sure you check him out on General Hospital, too. One of the biggest names in sports, if not the biggest. The star and also executive producer of First Take. Introducing my man, Stephen A. Smith.
What up, money?
What's happening?
I'm good.
Yo, thank you for coming, man. I appreciate it.
No doubt.
Look, I seen you the other day.
Right.
A few days ago now. You took that free throw competition very seriously.
I want fucking around.
Yeah. First I seen you with Lethal Shooter.
Right.
And I said, okay, because Lethal Shooter is my man. I said, okay, Stephen A. looks like he's very serious about it. Then when I see you go against Kenny, everybody was smiling but you.
Nah.
I didn't see no smiles.
Because listen, Kenny and I go back 40 plus years. His brother Vincent was the one that used to train me in Queens at Lost Battalion Hall and all of that shit. I wouldn't have a scholarship. I wouldn't have got a basketball scholarship if it wasn't for Vincent Smith, man, the way he trained me and taught me how to play. Right. So it's mad love and respect to him. And Kenny was a guy that I grew up idolizing the whole bit. So that's one thing.
Right.
But Shaq was there.
Okay.
And that motherfucker trolls better than anybody. And Shaq and the fool, he was just waiting.
Yeah.
He was just waiting for ammunition. So I knew what he was going to do.
Right.
And Chuck, we all know, Al Barkley can roll in the whole bit. So these are my cats. I've known all of them for over 20, 25 years in the whole nine. And so it was like, it wasn't even about, the national television. Please, man, I'm on national television every day. I ain't fazed by that.
Right.
Should I lose a contest to NBA, two of them are champions, two of them are Hall of Famers and the whole bit. It's not that.
Right.
I was petrified. Man, I don't give a shit if I lose. Like, if he hit all five, but I hit 4 or 5, that's good.
Right.
I can't miss. Like, I can't go up here and go 0 for 5. Or something. That's why I was so serious. I was like this. Oh, no, this ain't the first pitch and shit where I ain't never played baseball and stuff and I'm going on the mound for the first time in my life or not realize. No, that's basketball.
Right.
I like, oh, hell no.
Right.
I ain't going out like that. Bright lights on me or whatever. This is what I do. I'm like, fine, let's go.
Right.
And that's what it was.
Because to be honest with you, and you know this more than I know this, is that the time you were just hanging out just in the gym and you shot some air balls with James Harden.
That's right.
They wouldn't let you. It went on for 2-3 months. I said,
bro, I shot 1 for 15.
Yeah, but not just that. I'm like, he's not practicing. He does a show every day, but they want your ass about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
But here's the deal with that James Harden shit.
Okay.
So James Harden's playing in Houston. ESPN said, we want you to do an interview with James Harden. No problem. I get to Houston because at that time, I think whether it was the national, the Final Four, I forgot what it was, whether it was the Final Four or the national, whatever it was, I went there. And I went to interview James Harden. James Harden was like, got shit to say to you.
Right.
Not until you take off your jacket and get out there and shoot jump shot. He said, you talk too much shit to be here talking to me and then you ain't going to shoot. I said, come on, man.
Right.
I got on a shirt and tie. I got to do the interview. He said, I don't give a damn.
Right.
And I said, he said, you ain't even allowed to warm up. Get out there and shoot.
Right.
And it was bad. It was really bad. But I was like, I'm going to put myself out there on Front Street because to me, that's like somebody that's not really accustomed to being in the hot seat. And then you got to come on First Take or something like that. And I get at you.
Right.
I'm like, listen, what's good for the goose is good for the game. So I got to do it. Right. That's what happened with that James Harden joint. Okay. I would think about that shit yesterday.
Yeah, when I see you with Lethal Shooter, I say, he's locked in. I don't think he want a repeater because the internet don't forget.
Well, the Lethal Shooter thing, like people thought that I was working with him before. That's not what happened. What happened is that I saw him on the internet making these incredible shots. And obviously I'm watching NBA basketball and we see quite a few people that can't shoot, you know. And so I'm watching this brother and listening to the lessons. And then I'm hearing, you got cats like Jaylen Brown and others that he may have worked with, the cat from Phoenix, Grayson Allen, and others who was a leading 3-point shooter last year. He worked with these cats. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna get a brother some shine. He doing some good things. You know how I roll. And I said, let me get a brother some shine, and I'm gonna throw him out there. I'm gonna go interview him and do a podcast show on him.
Okay.
And he was like, yo, let's work out while you doing it.
Right.
I said, okay.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I went out there and shot with him in the whole bit. So that's all that was.
Right.
The workout was Friday.
Got you.
The night before this free throw shoot contest, he was like, yo, he changed my whole rhythm. He said, nah, man, make up your mind. 1 minute you bouncing the ball once, another minute you bouncing the ball twice, another minute you holding it on your right waist, another minute you holding it on your left waist.
Right.
What you gonna do? 1 bounce, 1 time, 2 bounce. No.
Right.
Routine. Same shit all the time.
Right.
That's what I need you to do.
Right.
So I'm thinking about all of that.
Right.
And I'm like, I gotta get this right.
Right.
I gotta get this right.
Well, look, you won. And I don't think Kenny smiled it off, but I don't think he was happy about it.
Well, he shot with his left hand, though. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It was like, you know, he handicapped himself.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he went up there and shot like he normally shot. This is Kenny Smith we talk about, career 83% free throw shooter.
Right.
All-time three-point shooter, field goal percentage-wise. The best postseason three-point shooter in NBA history. I don't know if everybody know that. Yeah. That's really true.
Right.
So, I mean, I know there's levels to this, but damn it was free throws. We weren't playing on the basketball court 5-on-5. It was free throws. I got a chance.
That's your business, Kenny. If you want to shoot with your left hand, you was out there. You was out there. Let's talk about real quick.
Yeah, man.
Your relationship with Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
He says you're not in locker rooms, you don't go to practices, and what do you really know when you say something about him? But then sometimes I see him on your show or not your podcast, but done interviews. What is your love-hate relationship, or what is your relationship like, period, with Kevin Durant?
I have no hatred, really, towards anybody. But I will tell you, with Kevin Durant, I got a lot of love for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a bit too sensitive sometimes. He bitches up too much, to be quite honest with you. I'm just going to say it how it is. Okay. And, you know, and it's unnecessary. It's like, okay, so we talking about me not being in the locker room. Do you understand that in my line of work, that's a compliment? Because that means I'm doing something else. Right. You know, when you look at the success that I've been blessed by God to enjoy, a lot of people in our industry wish they had that kind of success. Right. I don't have to be in the locker room anymore. I graduated from that. That's not to disrespect any of the beat writers or any of the people in the locker rooms or anything like that. Right. But everybody knows that the reason why you don't see me at as many games or in the locker room as much is because I'm working on TV. Right. So I'm putting in, you know, I don't know if people notice, I don't work less than 330 days a year. Right. 330. Right. Average. Check ESPN. They will tell you. Right. Okay. It's a minimum of 240 days on First Take. Gotcha. That don't count SportsCenter. It don't count NBA Countdown. It don't count other shows that I appear on for ESPN and what have you. It don't count the shit that I do on my own when it comes to politics and all of this other stuff. So I work a minimum of 330 days out of the year. The reason why I'm not in locker rooms is because somebody usually has me somewhere else on the airwaves. Right. Prior to that, I was in the locker rooms an average of 120 games a year. Now, there's 82 games a season during the regular season for a team. Right. Well, you got teams like LA and New York that got more than one teams in the market. I would go from one game to another. Couldn't stay the complete game and all of that stuff because I'm working. Right. Working the locker room, working pregame, making sure a cat, if they want to holler at me. That's why you see me a lot of times walking courtside during the layup line and stuff like that. Because if anybody want to come holler at me about anything, yo, Steven, I need you to meet me after the game. Right. Yo, Steven, I need you to talk to me. Meet me at this spot. Yo, let me holler at you. I'm going to call you later, blah, blah, blah. Because I make sure to let them know I ain't hiding from no damn body. Right. And so when Kevin Durant says that, first of all, he don't know what he's talking about because he doesn't know what the media entails, regardless of what the 35 Ventures would indicate. He don't know. That's number one. And number two, he only had that shit to say because he was upset that I questioned his leadership. Right. I questioned it then. I questioned it before. I'm questioning it now. I didn't question his game. I know he's one of the greatest ever. Right. He's a future Hall of Famer, first ballot easily, one of the greatest prolific scorers in the history of the NBA, two-time NBA champion, two-time NBA Finals MVP. Even with the Splash Brothers as his teammate, he was clearly the best player in the world on that team. Nobody would question that. And once upon a time, we were comparing him to LeBron James. And I still think he's a better pure scorer than LeBron James. And I got LeBron James on the Mount Rushmore basketball. But that's how he gets from time to time. And so, you know, the reason I clapped back at him was because of the word clown. Well, you did not one, but two documentaries. Right. I starred in both of them because y'all caught me. to star in both of them.
Right.
You called the clown to star in your own documentary. Figure that out.
Right.
You know, you came on First Take. You understand? I sat right across from you for 35 Ventures when you had your show, The Boardroom, with Jay Williams moderating it. Was I a clown then?
Right.
So it's like, you know, you got cats that's talking, and that's the culture of a lot of folks in today's NBA. Not all, not most, but far too many of them are too sensitive. And I know why, because any little thing you say affects them. It affects their brand, the advent of social media, the sensitivity to everybody running their mouth or whatever. Well, you a man or you not? Can you take it? Right. You know, the fact is, I ain't talking about your family. I ain't talking about your personal life. I said that you are a great player, but leaders hold cats accountable. One of the things we marveled at in watching a Michael Jordan and watching a Kobe Bryant and others is you knew you had to answer to those cats if you didn't handle your business, whatever your business was. Kobe wasn't getting on no scrubs. Kobe wasn't getting on somebody that produced, but he'd get on you if you didn't fulfill your role. Kobe got on Paul Gasol. I remember when Lamar Odom was doing they did this big feature on Lamar Odom, and I'll never forget this as long as I live, and it was a feature on the brothers' addiction to candy. Twizzlers and Sour Patches and Skittles and all of this other stuff. And everybody was smiling and laughing, and I had this serious look on my face. I said, has anybody seen Kobe?
Right.
And they were like, what? Why are you asking that? I said, I feel sorry for that dude. Mm-hmm. When Kobe sees that piece. Because when Kobe see that piece, Kobe gonna get his ass.
Right.
Because Kobe thinking, no wonder your ass can't run up and down the court.
Right.
No wonder you ain't D'ing up hard enough. No wonder you ain't doing blah, blah, blah.
Right.
That's Michael Jordan. That's Kobe, people like that. And so if you Kevin Durant, 2 of the last 3 years, you've been bounced out in the first round.
Right.
You got swept twice. You got, you wouldn't have got out of the first round if Kawhi Leonard hadn't gotten hurt. That'd have been 3 straight years. Right. So considering your level of greatness, what's up? How come it ain't happening for you? It clearly ain't because of your game.
Right.
It's because the cats around you, they ain't prioritizing shit the way you need them to in order for y'all to get over the hump. Right. At the end of the day, that's on you. I'm not good enough. I was never that talented. I do First Take.
Right.
You think somebody gonna come to First Take and be like lackadaisical on my watch?
Right.
That's my show.
Absolutely.
That's executive producer.
Right.
You try that shit.
Right.
All of a sudden, you're going to read story like, this person got moved off the show. There's new talent coming on. I'm not having it.
Right.
You're going to bring what you're supposed to bring, whatever that is. Right. To me, that's what leaders do.
Absolutely.
And that's what I was challenging him on. Obviously, he didn't like it. He came at me off of that. I said what I had to say. And since then, I've slept well.
Gotcha. Very good answer. You brought up Kobe.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best one-on-one interviews I've seen with Kobe that you actually did before. Mm-hmm. And I haven't seen you, and I could be wrong, you correct me if I'm wrong. Sure. I haven't seen you do a lot of one-on-one interviews with athletes. What do you think your relationship with athletes today are as opposed to yesteryear?
I don't think it's great.
Right.
I just don't care.
Right.
And the reason I don't care is because I know why.
Right.
It's a few reasons. Number one, sensitivity is heightened.
Right.
We all know that because they looking at the advent of social media and how everybody got a voice and whatever, and they get sensitive, ultra sensitive about that. Number two, everything's about their brand.
Right.
So whatever you whisper about them, they think that it could affect them potentially monetarily.
Right.
They got a problem with that. Okay. Number three, they have their own voices in their minds. So it's like we can have a podcast or we could go on one of our contemporaries podcast with another player or whatever, and we could speak out then. Right. That's number three. Right. And so all of those things come into play. And I think that, for me personally, listen, this is the hardest part. And I've said this to ESPN. And I said, they really have an appreciation for me and the work that I do and the ratings and the revenue that I bring to the company. And I'm glad they appreciate that. But I've said to the bosses at times, you have no idea how hard my life is.
Right.
Every single day I wake up, I know I'm going to make an enemy.
Right.
Every day. Because when you have a debate show, you have to take a side.
Right.
And any side you don't take is going to be considered hating.
Right.
And as a result, they're going to take it that way instead of compartmentalizing. Like, I remember, me and you had a conversation. You disagree with me about something. I was like, so?
Right.
I got nothing but love for you, bro. You have every right to disagree.
Right.
Now, if somebody attacked me personally, that's different.
Right.
You telling me I'm wrong, you disagree with me,
Right.
I can't fuck with that feeling, I can't vibe with that.
Right.
That's what you do.
Right.
You have a show.
It was healthy. It wasn't
exactly.
exactly.
They don't look at it that way.
Right.
But the phony part about it is they look at it that way with each other until they don't.
Right.
And one of the things that I said to bring up Kevin Durant's name again, remember what I said when I responded.
Right.
I said, just tell me who could talk about you.
Right.
You've gotten at fans.
Right.
You've gotten at former players. You've gotten at present players.
Right.
You've gotten at the media. Is anybody allowed to say something about you?
Right.
Because you playing in a public forum. You ain't playing in the privacy of your garage or your home or something. You playing in the public. Thousands upon people are coming in attendance to watch you every night. Millions of people are watching you on the air. People gonna have shit to say.
Right.
It's not a crime, bro. Ain't nobody taking away from your clear, obvious greatness.
Right.
But if we see, but with greatness comes great responsibilities. You ain't supposed to be home in the first round.
Right.
Period.
Gotcha.
When you great, you ain't supposed to be home in the first round. And if you are home in the first round, I'm looking at you. Right. I'm looking at a career 27-point per game scorer that's home in April.
Mm-hmm.
Why? So if you're going to get sensitive to that, should the sensitivity be aimed at me or the teammates that ain't help you get past April?
Right.
That's how I look at it. And so, when people come at me like that and, you're going to have players and of course the LeBrons of the world and other stars, they talk and they mimic to one another and all of this other stuff. And I'm like, fine, it don't stop this train because they forgot or they didn't realize one important thing. I'm not the beat writer in the locker room no more.
Right.
I'm not the columnist for the newspaper. I'm going to come to the games anyway.
Right.
When I can, I'm going to get to the locker rooms. Mm-hmm. I'm going to do all of that to make sure. They all got my numbers. I ain't changed my number, bro, in 20 years.
Okay.
Specifically so they could find me, okay? Right. But they don't realize one thing that's very, very important. Mm-hmm. I get paid to talk about you, not to you.
Right.
I don't ever have to talk to them.
Right.
Me wanting to talk to them is a courtesy. Mm-hmm. I got the Stephen A. Smith Show on YouTube. I got First Take. I got any ESPN platform that you want because anything that I do is going to be splattered all over the place, right? Or it'll be seen everywhere, right?
Right.
And I make myself accessible. If you don't talk to me, it's because you chose not to. It ain't because I'm hiding.
Right.
So that's on you. All I could do is ask. Every single year, I put in requests for those players, knowing they're going to say no.
Right.
But I do it just to let them know I'm here. I'm not hiding. I'm not running. Right. You got the shop. I'll show up on that. You got the boardroom. I'll show up on that. Right. You got another podcast. I'll show up on that. It ain't me just asking them to come on my show.
Right.
It's me letting them know I'll come on your platform.
Right.
Just to let you know. Ain't nobody hiding.
Right.
And if you choose not to talk to me, you don't. That's fine. That's cool.
Yeah, you show up for me every time, bro, and I appreciate it. Like, you were one of the first guests on our show, and I'm like, Steven, they really gonna come fuck with us? And you kind of solidified our show. I appreciate that.
You deserve it.
Appreciate that.
Quite honest with you, you're doing a hell of a job. You and Mason Crew, y'all do a hell of a job. You deserved it. And I loved your basketball commentary when you was getting on Ben Simmons' ass. That's when I called you.
Yeah, that's a fact. Thank you.
I said I loved it because Ben Simmons deserved it.
Yeah, you called me this before we were at the show. Yeah. I think the post was, you said, don't apologize.
Do not apologize.
You said, do not apologize.
Do not apologize. Man.
And I always call you for advice, so I appreciate that. Yeah. I know you're in the middle of negotiation right now with ESPN, and we're not going to get into that because you're in the middle of negotiation.
Yeah.
But if you were offered a job as a head coach, would you take it?
No.
Why not?
Only job that I would be interested in basketball is president of basketball operations.
And
I'm a bottom line kind of guy. I'm about the results, not the minutia.
Gotcha.
And I think a coach is far more, not that I'm not detail oriented, but is far more detail oriented than me.
Right.
And dare I say, possibly far more patient.
Right.
And so because of that, I don't think that I would be a good coach at all.
Right.
But I would be a president of basketball operation. I would go a long way towards establishing a culture.
Gotcha.
And there's a certain level of accountability that you're going to have playing on a team like mine. And I don't need, I understand that a couple of superstars can win it for you. But my ideal model is very, very similar to what the Houston Rockets have right now.
Gotcha.
You have an exceptional coach in Ime Udoka who got screwed in Boston. I will never stop saying that. All right. You got a whole bunch of cats. Jalen Green is your star. He's at and Sengun as well, averaging under 20. They got 7 other players averaging at least 11 points a game.
Right.
So you winning by committee with fresh legs, with enough talent to compete with anybody devoid of that star. And the kind of star that I would want to play for me is one of two people. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo or Steph Curry.
Right.
I'd want somebody, I'm not talking about just their talent, I'm talking about their approach, the selflessness, the fire in their belly. A guy like Giannis not training with other players.
Yeah, he's not trying to be friends with nobody.
I'm not trying to be friends. That's my kind of cat.
Right.
Steph Curry is like that, but quieter and significantly nicer about it because he just does his own thing, separate and apart from everybody, and he just shows up. Whereas Giannis lets you know we at war,
right,
and I'm coming to get you.
Right.
So either way works for me,
right,
but having a player like that with a bunch of supplementary parts around them is my ideal situation.
Gotcha. You just said you work 330 days a year.
Yes, minimum.
Minimum. Do you feel you missed out or sacrificed family life because of work, or miss out on anything as far as family's concerned?
Of course I did. Yeah. Of course I did, but I did it for my family.
Right.
Not just for myself.
Right.
Everybody saw my book, Straight Shooter, know what I wrote in it and knows what I endured, right, you know, as a youngster, as a child and everything like that. And after what we went through as a family, you know, I'm the kind of man where provide and protect. Right. That comes with it. You know, I got 2 beautiful daughters, teenagers now, right, who are all over me because I don't get to spend as much time with them as I would like or as they would like. Right. But I think about all the things they need. I think about all the things they want. And I think about all the things that they need to have to better position them for success down the line.
Right.
And the sacrifice is that it's going to cost time with daddy.
Right.
Because in my field, I got to travel. I got to get on the road. I got to get up and go. I don't get holidays. I work Christmas Day. I work Thanksgiving Day.
Right.
I work weekends. Right. You know, I don't get off on my birthday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's Mother's Day. It's Father's Day. It's 4th of July. The list goes on and on and on. 99% of the time, I'm working under those circumstances. And so I know that it's hard. I know that it's worn on some people as well. It's certainly worn on my personal life. That is the reason why I've never been married. Right. Because I was on the road 200 days out of the year. And the fact of the matter is at that time, there was no way in hell I was going to be faithful. Right. I knew that. Right. So why the hell am I going to sit up there and violate my marital vows knowing ahead of time I ain't going to honor them? There was no way in hell I was going to do that. Okay. Because I was just on the road too much. Right. That's not the case now. Right. And so because of that, you know, I look at things differently and think about things differently. But that was my challenge. And to watch my mom suffer the way that she did, having to make sure we had food in the refrigerator, heat in the house, a roof over our head, clothes on our back, I was like, nah, it ain't going down like that. I mean, nieces and nephews, grandnieces, grandnephews, 4 older sisters, my 2 daughters. We talking about in excess of 20 people. Right. You know, that's a part of my family. Right. I get it. And my mom was like, I ain't ask you to take care of nobody. But always be there for them in case of emergency. You don't get a check and then go to them and just give it because everybody gonna need you at some point. Right. But what you want to do is be as successful as you can. So when they call you, you can answer the call because you've built enough of a nest egg for yourself to be able to do that. Right. That is what I have done.
So that's what's up. So I've known you for sports.
Yeah.
Since 97, 98, maybe.
I started in 94.
Yeah, I mean, since I've been aware, probably. I was 20 years old, maybe. Is there another career you would have pursued outside of being a journalist, a beat writer now, analyst, or co-producer of sports? Is there anything outside of sports, a career you would have pursued?
Criminal law.
Okay.
I'm a law and order fanatic.
Right.
Fanatic. Okay. Like, I'm talking about the Law and Order with Sam Waterston, the regular law. I'm not talking about this SVU and criminal intent,
the leech on the add-ons,
organized crime, and all. I get all of that. I like it, but I am a law an order fanatic.
Right.
And so from season 3, I think, when Sam Waterson came on as the assistant district attorney, always, because I love court cases.
Right.
Like I used to like Matlock and Perry Mason and all of that stuff, but I love the courtroom.
Right.
And for me, I've always fantasized about me in front of 12 jurors against you.
Right.
Who's going to convince them that they right, that they're right? It would, and I'm like, it would be me. Like I joked around. That's how I got to know Carl that was on O.J. Simpson's team, the lawyer there, right? Because I said, I went on the air one day. I said I'd have beat Johnny Cochran.
Right.
And they were
I
like,
see you say that too.
Right. So I was like, I didn't mean it literally like I'm not a lawyer, but I'm saying if I studied the law and I knew the law and I had that case, OJ's ass would have been under the jail. I'd have got him. I'd have got him because there was just too much evidence. I wouldn't have lost that case. That's all I was trying to say. Not even talking about the OJ stuff and all. I just knew that based on that evidence, he wouldn't have got me with the glove. If it doesn't fit, you must have quit. I'd have said, that glove was blood-stained and it's been sitting there for months. I'm not putting that glove on that man. I'm not falling for the okey doke there. You know, Marsha Clark and Christopher Darden, they couldn't relate to the juror. I would have been able to relate to the juror. To me, it would have been on with me and Johnny Cochran. That is... If I wasn't doing what I was doing and I was bright enough to pass a bar exam and become a lawyer, it would have been for criminal law.
This is why nobody wins on first take. Now I understand what's going on because you're going to get the last word. You're a great talker. So we talked about first take a little bit on here. To where now you're executive producer. And we've seen your... I would say a surgeon, even though you was on ESPN way before First Take, and you took a hiatus from there, came back, ended up on First Take. It was with Skip. Now you're on there with Shannon, who was formerly with Skip on FS1. What is your relationship with Skip Bayless today?
I don't have one.
Okay. Because that's what I was going to ask you. You know, real quick, I actually seen when, I can't remember exactly what it was, but Skip Bayless was going through something, and I guess, I don't know if it's the Shannon Sharp shit or what happened, but I remember you reached out to him, you said on your podcast, he didn't pick up the phone for you, and you was like, I tried. So that's why I was asking, where you guys at today?
There's nothing, I have nothing bad to say. I'm eternally grateful to Skip Bayless, who brought me on First Take, as Shannon has articulated about himself as well. Because you should never forget somebody that gave you that opportunity. You really, really shouldn't. And when I say we don't have a relationship, it's not anything negative from my end. It's me letting you know, yo, bro, I picked up the phone on several occasions and called him. He never called me back. And so, to me, if you that kind of person, that doesn't make you bad. It just means that we can't vibe because I'm going to answer a call. I'm going to answer a call. There's nothing, I got a lot of people over the last year or two that have really, really pissed me off. I'm picking up the phone if they call. There's only one person that I won't pick up the phone for. Everybody know who that person is, that no good, sorry ass. Everybody knows who that is. I don't have to say his name. Outside of that one human being on the planet Earth, you understand, who I think is the human incarnation of the devil. Everybody knows. Anybody else calls me, I'm going to pick up the phone. And so Skip had his right not to pick up the phone when the whole Shannon thing was going down, and that's fine. That's his prerogative. But live with that. Do what you got to do. That's how you felt it was best. That's why I know Skip better than most. And I know that it wasn't malice or malicious intent with him not doing that. He's just a different cat. And he operates, you know, in a different way. I see him operating differently now than he did when he was on TV.
Absolutely.
You know, and in terms of, you know, wanting to talk to people more as opposed to when he see me, I'm always me. You know, and so that's not to say, again, anything negative about him, but our relationship goes back too long for me not to get a call from you when I called you. And so when you made that decision, cool. Live with your decision. I wish you nothing but the best. I hope he gets back. Whatever makes Skip happy, I'm hopeful it happens for him. I love his wife, Ernestine, who is an absolutely wonderful woman. And she's diehard Skip all day, every day, as any man would want his wife to be.
Right.
That's who she is. Right. And she's a phenomenal woman. I got a lot of love for her, and I will always love Skip. Right. Even when I adamantly and emphatically disagree with some of the things he says and does. Right. But the part about not calling me back, not answering my call, nah, bro, you anybody that knows me, family included, anybody that knows me, you don't get too many shots with that with me. I don't pick up the phone too often to call you. Right. If you don't answer my call, you don't answer my call.
Right. I dig that. More people than ever, everybody got a microphone.
Yep.
And a YouTube channel and a podcast, whether it's in their bathroom, in their kitchen, in their living room,
absolutely,
in their car.
Yeah.
And when I tell we be talking, I say, if a smartphone right now, if you got a smartphone, you got an opinion. Because you can just chime in on Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or any social platform. Do you think that's helping or hurting sports media?
I think it's doing both.
Okay.
I think in some cases, the smarter you are, the more articulate you are, it can definitely help you. Right. Not to mention the fact that it also helps you get things off your chest. Sometimes the stress that we build inside ourselves is the most inflicting. Than anything else, because you holding stuff in, you don't get to exhale and express yourself. You're limiting yourself, and so it's good and somewhat cathartic to be able to release and let go and express yourself with no problem, no doubt about that. Right. Some motherfuckers don't need to be talking. Right. Some of them, they don't need to be talking. Right. I mean, every word they say is incriminating themselves even more. It's like, you the gift that keeps on giving. And I can't tell you how many times I've said this to journalists. And I've said, what's wrong with y'all? Right. What you being jealous for? First of all, you should want these cats to succeed. See, I don't root against any of these athletes. I don't root against any cat. Man, get yours. Right. Get yours. There's too many opportunities out there to get yours. And I don't hate none of them. Anybody that wants to talk to me, I'm more than happy to. If I'm wrong, I'll fess up and say I'm wrong. If I'm right, I'll tell you, no, I ain't budging. I'm right. We can talk as men, and we can depart with decent respect for one another and move it forward anytime they want to. I always say, name the time and place, I'll show up. Ain't nobody running, and because I believe in my truth. And if I'm false, I'm man enough to acknowledge that falsehood. Right. But I say all of that to say you got journalists that there are some people in media that do want cats to fail. Right. That don't want them to succeed. Right. I don't understand it because, see, me, when you young, if you don't succeed, what you gonna do? Right. And ultimately, you gonna cause society in one way or another. Why would we want that? Right. The more you succeed, the better off we all are. Right. So that's how I look at it. And when you got cats that got their own podcasts and stuff like that, I'm like, do you have any idea how easy it is? Right. Like, you're an athlete. You do me a favor when you talk. Right. Oh, I don't have to go see you. Right. Oh, I don't have to go to the game. Damn, all I got to do is sit here and watch your podcast. I'm like, what's the cat? What this guy will say next? Let me watch. Right. Oh, did you hear what he said on the podcast? Right. It's not hard. Right. And so, when they do that stuff, especially when they do it and they avoid me, right, it makes my life easier. People like Chris Paul, Kobe, God rest his soul, Shaq, Barkley, Jordan, D. Wade, cats like that. Oh, they scared the hell out of me. Right. I didn't want to utter a wrong syllable about them. You know why? Talk to me, tell me. Motherfuckers pick up the phone themselves. Right. Ain't no hang-arounds. Ain't no agents. Right. Ain't no boys. Right. No. Right. Kobe, what? I know I ain't just hear you say. You know what I'm saying? Right. Chris Paul, Stephen A. What was that, Stephen A? Right. What? You're like
I've seen your show where people on First Take, where people call you during the actual show, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so to do that, I'm like, I gotta dot my I's and cross my T's. Right. They ain't going on X or Instagram and nah. Right. They calling me. Right. I know you didn't. I remember one time Kobe said, "Get your ass to LA." Right. Now I know I ain't just hear you say this shit. Yeah. Get out here. Right. I look at the bosses. I gotta go to LA. I gotta go to LA. Right. Because he want to holler at me. Right. So it's like, You see, and he ain't the only one that's done that. I'm saying that it's a beautiful, beautiful thing because you want to get it right.
Right.
And if you're wrong, you want to know how you were wrong. But most importantly, you appreciated that they wanted to talk to you face to face and correct you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because that's what men do.
Right.
We don't have a lot of that in today's sports. We just don't have a lot of it. That's sad.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of it.
I just talked about how, it get crazy out there sometimes.
I know.
Yeah,
I do my show from here when I'm
I'm
here.
about to say, yeah. Oh, nah, it get crazy. Sometimes I close the shit, but, you know, sometimes.
Nah, I like it. It's good.
No,
It's good for
sometimes
them to
it's
see you.
entertaining just to see what the fuck is going on
That's
out there.
right.
It's fucking funny.
That's right.
I talked about knowing you since the 90s.
Yeah.
You're actually, so if we're going off the 90s, you say you started in 94.
Mm-hmm.
You're in your fourth decade
Yeah.
of being relevant.
Yeah.
And not just regular, at the top of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
How much are you tapped in with the youth? And how do you stay relevant in your eyes to be at the top of what you do right now?
I sat down about 3 years ago with Jerry Jones, owner for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
I asked him that question.
Right.
He says, look at all the young people I've hired.
Right.
Because when you surround yourself with youth, you can't ignore hearing them.
Right.
You know, my knuckleheaded nephew is here in studio with me.
Yeah.
He prides himself on being considered a young gun. A cat that's like a nephew to me is right next to him. I've known him all his life. I've been Uncle Steve to him all his life. His brother is the father of my niece. His uncle is the father of my niece. We're family. And I'm always around youth.
Right.
And I'm youthful.
Right.
You know, when you're covering sports, you're always around youth.
Right.
You know, so you always hear what they think,
Right.
what they say, and then I'll model my commentary around the subject matter they want to hear about.
Right.
I don't go on TV talking about what I want to talk about.
Right.
99% of the time.
Right.
It's about what they want to hear about. Like a lot of times people look at me, you always talk about the Cowboys. You know why?
Right.
Because they want me talking about the Cowboys.
Right.
When I talk about the Cowboys, the ratings blow up.
Right.
When I talk about the Lakers or LeBron, the ratings blow up. When I talk about Steph Curry, the ratings are up there. Right. If I talk about Orlando, not so much. Right. If I talk about Cleveland, not so much.
Right.
That's just the way that it works. And so people keep forgetting when it comes to me, I'm a journalist by trade.
Right.
What does that mean? You woke up every day. What's the story?
Right.
What's percolating?
Right.
What do people want to know about? What do people care about?
Right.
So it's like, I remember, I'm going to tell on him a little bit. I remember a long time ago, Rich Paul and I were getting in a discussion, and Rich Paul was like, people don't care about the blah, blah, blah. I said, man, be an agent.
Right.
Let me leave commentary to me.
Right.
You don't know what people want, and this is what I do.
Right.
Don't talk to me about what storylines people don't want to hear about.
Right.
And I would know that.
Right.
That's not what you would know. You know how to negotiate contracts. You know how to be an agent. You're elite at what you do. Mad love and respect to that brother. Love Rich Paul.
Yeah.
He's done a great job, right, in building Clutch Sports. Deserves all the credit in the world, as do others. Aaron and Eric Goodwin, Bill Duffy, and all the cats like that. Mad love to all of my brothers in the agency business. But the reality is when it comes to television, this is what I do.
Right.
And so don't come to me talking to me about what people don't want to talk or don't want to hear about.
Right.
I would know.
Right.
Because First Take is going on 13 consecutive years as number one.
Right.
I think I got a clue what people want to hear about.
Right.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be number one.
Right. There you go. Complex, they do top sports personalities every year.
Yep.
And it's opinionated.
Yep.
And you were actually number 2, I forget the exact wording of it, of colorful host or best host or whatever. Why don't you think you were number 1 on that list? Your opinion.
I have none. I don't think about it.
Right.
Their opinion didn't matter to me.
Right.
I mean, no disrespect to Complex Sports, but
I get you.
Whatever. The ratings say otherwise.
Right.
But I would say this to you in all seriousness.
Right.
Like, for example, I've got the Stephen A. Smith Show. It's a podcast. It's also a show on YouTube. Same thing, right? Just on 2 different platforms.
Yep.
Been doing it for about 20 months now. approaching 1 million subscribers. I don't think that's bad.
Congratulations. Absolutely.
I don't think it's bad. I'm about up to 970,000 right now. Doing what I do, averaging about 12 to 14 million views.
Right.
Per month, per week or month, whatever the hell it is. I don't know. I got to check with them to get the numbers for me right now.
Right.
But I'm doing well.
Right.
I just started.
Right.
You got cats that's been doing it for years.
Right.
And they're going to continue to climb. And I'm certainly not rooting against anybody, but I'm coming.
Right.
I'm coming.
Right.
And I was busy doing other things.
Right.
To position myself for that contract that everybody's been talking about.
Right.
I had bigger fish to fry.
Right.
And so I look at it from the standpoint that when you're talking about popularity, what are you talking about?
Right.
My boy Shannon has done a phenomenal job.
Right.
That Cat Williams interview, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Absolutely.
And he maximized that shit.
Right.
Major props to him.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't everybody.
Right.
Joe Rogan's the king of this right now.
Right.
18 million subscribers, whatever. Mm-hmm. But he's been doing it for over damn near 2 decades.
Right.
So he's an originator and a godfather in all of this, right? And so I look at, well, they were doing what they were doing. I was doing what I was doing. Now I'm venturing into this and let's see how it goes. And, not only that, you got to remember when I first started, it wasn't the Stephen A. Smith show. Right. It was No Mercy.
Right.
ESPN would not allow me to use my name.
Right.
Not only was I not allowed to use my name, I wasn't allowed on YouTube. There was no video component.
Right.
I didn't have no video component until 20 months ago.
Right.
Which is why I tell everybody it's 20 months.
Right.
Because I wasn't allowed the first 10 months or so, I wasn't allowed to be on video and I wasn't allowed to use my own name. So if you Googled Stephen A., what showed up was ESPN. Nothing showed up about No Mercy. Right. So that's why I had to ultimately fight with them to get them to change my name. And major props to Jimmy Pitaro and the rest of the crew at ESPN and Disney for allowing me to do that because I didn't have the right to do that at the time.
Right.
They gave me that right and I'm indebted to them for that.
Right.
But all of those minefields are things that I had to work with. And I remember I explained this to Shannon one time. You realize the blessed position that you in.
Right.
You were a former athlete. You, Camron, hip-hop artist, what have you. I got nothing but admiration and love for y'all because it takes courage to do what y'all do, to bet on yourself. Right. But there's a flip side to that. As an athlete, as a hip-hop artist, you're automatically associated with independence. Not to say that you don't have contractual obligations, but you walk in the door as an independent.
Right.
We never did as journalists. We're employees.
Right.
So you always have employee restrictions.
Right.
And you have to fight to branch out and get your freedom.
Right.
To y'all, to somebody like Shannon, a professional athlete, yourself and others, you walk to the door with that level of independence that we have to scratch and claw our way to.
I get
you don't get it like that.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I've been doing.
Right.
And and remember, I got let go in 2009.
Okay.
I'm unemployed for a year. I'm back to ESPN 2 years later. I was off television from 2009 to 2012.
Right.
They wouldn't have let me on television.
Right.
So all of these obstacles I had to get over in order to build what I built, which is why I'm late to the game in that regard. It wasn't because I didn't have the vision.
Right.
It was because I had the restrictions that wouldn't allow me to exercise the vision. And so now that I don't have that problem, sky's the limit.
Right.
And so with everything that's going on, podcast network, YouTube channel, bro, I'm coming.
Right.
But I'm not talking about ratings and revenue. I'm coming for other talent.
Right.
Inside and outside the world of sports, inside and outside of hip hop, in the streets, off the streets, talents everywhere.
Right.
I'm a producer. I own my own production company. Right. I got projects coming down the pike. I got vision. I've got aspirations where I want to be one of those cats that discovers talent.
Right.
And elevates them.
Gotcha.
I want my legacy to be attached to all of that.
Right.
So when I look at this industry and how people are in it or whatever, I'm like, I'm number 2 to who?
Right.
Really?
Right.
Maybe you're not paying attention.
Yeah, I remember we talked and we won't get into detail, but you told me basically what you're telling me now. It's just more for the reason, like, Cam, Complex is complex. Do what they do. The numbers say different. Yeah, you said the
numbers say different.
The numbers say different.
And folks try to get you. And listen, I'm not throwing no shade on Complex. I'm familiar with them. I respect them. I certainly don't want it to come across as that.
Right.
But it's an opinion.
Right.
It's not fact.
Right.
When I tell you I'm the best, I don't mean I'm the best talent on television.
Right.
I mean the ratings and the revenue says I'm number one.
Right.
Why? Because the ratings and the revenue is what got me fired.
Right.
See, people don't understand where I'm coming from. Why can't I bring it up when that was the excuse you used for letting me go?
Right.
You used that excuse to let me go in 2009. So how is it that now that I've been number one approaching 13 years, I don't get to say, yo, that ain't the case now?
Right.
So nobody brings that up. And then you sit up there and you watch cats and it's like you looking at them, it's like, and I'm talking to us here. I'm talking white folks. This ain't got nothing to do with y'all, what I'm about to say. This is about black people, all right? I'm sitting there, players. Okay, because there's plenty of players that talk to me. I mean, you can't be in my position and players don't talk to you. I get text messages and phone calls and all this shit all the time.
Right.
But for those that don't want to talk to me, you realize what you're doing? Like, you want to ignore me? How are you helping us?
Right.
The Sports Brothers are based out of Miami. They had a show that was the graveyard shift. 2 a.m, 6 a.m.
Right.
They'll tell anybody, biggest interview we had was Stephen A.
Right.
Because at 3 o'clock in the morning, I came on live because they brothers.
Right.
And I knew they were trying to climb.
Right.
You was getting this started. Stephen A, love you. Done.
Yep,
no problem.
Came in early.
It's like these cats talk so much shit. Where's your evidence about all of this bullshit that you go say about me?
Right.
I've helped brothers and sisters in this industry since I got here. I could give you details that will prove to you I lost my job in 2009 because I stood up for us.
Right.
I just can't give those details because I ain't going to give company business. People don't understand the sacrifices that I've made and what I've done.
Right.
For no other reason than to make sure to help uplift us collectively.
Right.
And so when you got cats that come at me the wrong way, okay, fine. When you got cats that want to try to minimize me and what I've accomplished, you need to pause for a second and ask yourself, if you can minimize me, what is somebody going to do to the next cat sitting in a chair like mine?
Absolutely.
I'm not talking about a basketball player, talking shit. I'm saying in the end, there are a multitude of people that have a podcast, that have a television show, that have a YouTube show, et cetera, et cetera. If you can turn around and minimize what I have accomplished in any way,
right.
You're not harming me because my resume is my resume. Right. And I know too many people in positions of influence and power who cut the checks, not just cash them, that validate me already. So I don't need it. Right. My point is, you hurting others.
Right.
When you allow somebody, to me, when we talking about us, I believe if you are black and you are speaking about somebody whose resume is validated, never, ever, ever allow anybody to minimize the resume. Even if you hate them.
Right.
Even if you hate them. Because you just setting the stage for everybody else to come down the pike and do it to everybody else. Right. And that ultimately hurts us collectively.
Got you.
That's how I feel.
I got one more question for you because I want to talk to Neph.
Well, my nephew's here, Josh.
Yeah.
Knucklehead.
I seen him on your episode, and I said, I need to ask him a couple questions because I was feeling his point of view. I didn't say I'd agree with it, but I was feeling this point of view, and we was talking before you came. But I want people to know about the conversation we had, and I want you to give people your point of view. Sure. And you alluded to it a little bit a few questions ago.
Yep.
So when I did the CNN interview, and I kind of went off the rail and promoted my pink horsepower and everything else, and I knew what I was coming there for because they wanted me to talk about Diddy, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
And I used it as a commercial for me. You were one of the first people who called me, and you said, Cam, are you one that did that? I'm talking about you shouldn't have approached that another way. And then I would explain to my point of view. I just want people to understand what your point of view was to tell me, and I appreciate that, bro. I really do. Explain to me why you shouldn't, somebody like myself on the rise in media, because this isn't where I came from at all. We talked about my hip hop.
Right.
Why that wasn't the best look for me to approach it that way.
Before I say that, let me tell you a little story that involved Kenny Smith.
Gotcha.
Remember when the protest was going on and Kenny Smith walked off and said TNT?
Yes.
Respectfully, he and I disagreed, and I called him.
Right.
And he was like, I had to send a message, and it was the most profound way to send a message. I said, there's two things you're missing, bro, respectfully.
Right.
Number one, you left two of your brothers hanging. Because with you being gone, it was left up to Chuck and Shaq to speak.
Right.
Both Hall of Famers, both beloved and respected. But Kenny's a brilliant brother.
Yep.
And when you have that platform and you have that voice, you surrender it to no one.
Right.
That's what I said to him. And I said, those were my 2 points.
Right.
I bring that up because I thought that when it came to you, it was the first time I looked at you and I said, he's not appreciating his greatness.
Right.
I watched this cat, Camron. You've been in hip hop. I remember years ago I saw you on Bill O'Reilly's show and all this other shit. You were wild as hell and all this other stuff. Funny, but smart, articulate, thoughtful, passionate, and fair.
Right.
Those are the components that you bring to a platform like that.
Right.
You don't let that go because you trying to promote something or you trying to downplay anything. No.
Right.
You know why? Because you want them to call you back rather than call another brother or sister who can't articulate the way that you can, who ain't as knowledgeable as you are, who ain't as thoughtful and as fair-minded and as sincere as you are.
Right.
You ever heard, you know when we growing up, right? As black folks, how many times as black folks we grew up and we saw some negative shit in the news in our neighborhood and stuff like that, or a neighborhood similar, the hood is the hood, right?
Right.
And we said, sorry asses, why they put that goddamn person on television? You understand what I'm saying? Person got 3 teeth, can't speak, can't articulate themselves. Look, it pisses us off. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because why didn't they come to somebody like us?
Right.
And my point to you was, you that us.
Got you.
So I'm looking at you and I'm like, yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, Cam, because they ain't called me.
Right.
They ain't called. I mean, they called me every other night. They ain't called me that night, right? And I'm like, but we good, because Cam there.
Right.
And Camron, to me, didn't take advantage of that moment.
Gotcha.
You know, I understood because, like you said, you appealing to a different audience. But I was like, your audience ain't going nowhere.
Right.
That's a different audience.
Right.
And what you want them to do is come over and join the audience you already have.
Gotcha.
Because they know that there's a level of versatility that you bring to the table that ain't just for anybody. Right. You have it. Right. And so for me, that's how I looked at you. And I was saying, what you doing? And you explained yourself, and I understood exactly where you was coming from. And I'm one of those cats, like Scoop Jackson is one of my good friends. And I remember when I talked to Scoop, and I was like, yo, bro, you want to make this paper.
Right.
You got to dress a little sharper. You got to be suited down, blah, blah, blah. He said, Stephen A., I don't care about none of that.
Right.
I'm happy where I'm at.
Right.
This is who I am. This is who I want to be. My man.
Right.
No problem. Because he said it. It was intentional. It wasn't foolish. It was deliberate and intentional. That's what he wants to do. Whatever makes you happy.
Right.
And what I was coming at you with was what make you happy.
Right.
When you told me, I was like, I got it.
Right.
I understand.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking at the time, you wanted that mass appeal.
Right.
And I like, don't pass up those moments.
Right.
Because for me, I do want that mass appeal.
Absolutely.
Listen, I know my peeps, and I'm going to always share. I remember one time when, years ago when Max Kellerman was on First Take and somebody was talking about, Max Kellerman is invited to the barbecue, not you, over the whole Colin Kaepernick situation. I was like, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
I said, I don't need to be invited to no damn black barbecue. I got my own. Ain't nothing but black people there.
Right.
What y'all talking about? You know,
Right.
you got a monopoly on barbecues.
Right.
See, I got a yard. You understand? I got a grill.
Right.
But I do have my own damn barbecue.
Right.
And I was there, it wasn't to disrespect anybody, it was just to make the point.
Right.
You don't get to qualify, define who I am and my blackness and all of that other stuff.
Right.
But I never want to limit myself
Right.
just to us.
Right.
I want whites, Hispanics, Asians, Jews, Catholics, Muslims, everybody. I want everybody to hear my voice.
Absolutely.
I just came from Abu Dhabi a week ago.
Right.
Okay. I was in Dubai and I was with Abu Dhabi and I ran into sheiks, other Muslim officials and what have you. They all knew me. They watch me all the time.
Right.
That's the shit I like.
That's what's up.
Wherever I go, you know who I am.
That's what's up.
I like that.
That's dope. Stephen A., we're going to talk to Neff for a minute. You did a great interview.
Thank you.
It ain't over. Because I got Neff. Now, tell my audience, what's your name?
I'm Josh Smith.
A Smith. Okay,
Yeah.
A Smith. Now, I
Emphasize
invited Josh on the show because I actually seen him on your podcast. Let the people know when your podcast
That was
is.
a mistake on my part, but go ahead.
No, but you gotta let the audience know when your podcast comes on.
Yeah.
Let your
Stephen
audience.
A. Smith Show,
Yep.
YouTube, the Stephen A. Smith Show, and the Stephen A. Smith channel on YouTube, plus iHeartRadio as well.
That's what's up. Josh was on an episode of Stephen A. Smith Show. Josh, I wanted to ask you, because it was a segment, and you basically said, Stephen A., you put in the work already for the family.
Yeah.
I should be, basically benefiting off the fruits of his labor
Right.
and taking advantage of what he did to get your riz on, so to speak.
Yeah.
Could you explain that?
I mean, it sounds crazy when you think about it until you think about it. Like, I remember a specific interview he was on, and a guy must have asked him, like, yeah, what is your goals? Like, what are you trying to? He's like, I'm just trying to create generational wealth.
Right.
So I'm the next generation. So what you building it for? Who's a generation? I'm like, am I not in it? Right. That's what I'm saying. And then even down to the shootout he had with Kenny.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was happy he won. I felt like he won that for the family. But the next, he had a 3-point shootout with Shaq.
Yeah.
And Shaq is like, yo, 20,000 to your charity.
Right.
It's 20,000 to me, baby.
You the charity? You're the charity?
I'm the charity.
Hey. He said he's us. Yeah, Josh got the Queen's crowd over here with him.
That's right.
Yep. So, but honestly, and look, you know why I thought this. I brought you on is because when I watched the interview, it's because I have a son, and my son's 24 now. Hey, but growing up, my son's in the books. He doesn't want anybody knowing that I'm his father. So like seriously, like if we're in the gym, we'll go to the gym. He's in the gym, and I'll get there late, and he's on the treadmill. I get next to him. He'll leave and go downstairs. I go downstairs. He go upstairs. I was like, "What the fuck? Where are you going?"
Right.
Yo, Dad, I don't need these guys being my friend because you're my father. And I'm like, I dig that, but a little bit, like
a little bit.
I was like, yo, what do you tell people in school? He said, I told him that you own a Macy's in the mall. I said, Cam, it's almost like telling people Santa Claus is still real at 15 because we have the same exact name. You're a junior. Right. We look alike, Right. You kind of bugging. Now, I used to say, you're wasted, man. You're supposed to got caught up in 14 scandals in my house. You're supposed to stole the car once. I'm supposed to be pissed off about it. You're handling this celebrity son thing a little too good. So when I seen Josh's point of view, I said, maybe it needs to be a little balance between Josh and my son. But Josh, I felt your point of view, but what are you doing to get your own besides living off Unc name?
I mean, I got a few things going on. I'm saying stuff to be funny. But one time when I was like, I want to say I was 22.
Okay.
I went on the interview, right? This is when I realized who he was.
Right.
And they were just asking me questions I felt like I was above. Like, what would you do if you was supervising these people and this person stole from this person. I'm like, what would I do? I call Stephen A. That's what I do. So they see that on my, sometimes they'll hire me and I'll be working, but not really working because I know that he's, he got my back. It's a gift and a curse. A
gift and a curse. So let me ask you this. I heard him talking about and we talked about this off there as well. Just the stuff that he has going on, and I actually done, whenever it's coming out, one of his new movies coming out for basketball documentary. Thank you for letting me be a part of that as well. Okay. With all the stuff he has going on, what are you going to do as a family member besides say I'm a family member to show that you're going to bring something to the table to be like, oh, I'm good at this or I'm good at that? What are you going to do to get his attention to say,
Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, maybe what are you going to do to say, you know what? I should do this because I've done X, Y, Z. Right. Not just because you're a Smith. Yeah. What are you going to do to bring to the table? Because obviously he has a lot about to happen. Right. How are you going to be an asset and not a liability?
So I'm going to drop an R&B album. I know it sounds crazy. See, look at this face. I know it sounds crazy. But I'm full of surprises. I have a few people that'll vouch for me. Like, he could drop an album. I believe that.
You sing?
Not really.
Oh my!
So how's this R&B album going to go?
It's almost like R&B today. Everybody's trying to sing.
Okay.
Like, so I mean, I'm putting some effort behind that. Have the machine behind me over there, and we gonna try to make it work. Like,
what are you doing currently?
Huh?
What are you doing currently today?
Keeping him connected to the hip hop. To the hip hop area. That's why I had to find out about this interview. I don't want you to think he told me about it. I'm walking by. I'm staying in a it's like a motel like 3 blocks down. Like, this is the good life. It's the good life. I'm just here for the interview though.
All right, I'm on Stephen A's side after the interview. I said I had to see what's going on.
Let me say this to you. Let me say
you my dude, right? But I gotta go with Stephen. You gotta bring more.
Let me say this to you, bro. Yeah. I got another nephew, TJ Timothy Jackson. Mm-hmm. I love him dearly too. My nieces, bunch of nieces, his cousins, his sisters, etc. The whole bit. Everybody know he's like the son I never had. Right. The problem is he knows that.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So Josh is very smart, very talented. Just the laziest dude you'll ever want to meet. This brother get tired playing PlayStation. Right. That's his problem. Right. And so when people like you and others meet him, I don't mind when y'all ask these questions. I don't mind when you get on him because, listen, I've told him on several occasions, get focused. Because, listen, to let you know, I'm Uncle Steve. Right. I fired him twice.
Okay.
I fired him twice. I'll fire him a third time. But I always forgive him. I always forgive him because the whole point is his whole thing is, I'm like, I've said to him on several occasions, would you rather go out and work in the system for people you don't know or come work with your uncle and I take care of you? Right. You understand what I'm saying? Because you know I'm going to reward you if you put in the work. He can't help it because he every trick of his, he knows I know. Right. Every any lie, any omission, and he raised his eyebrow. I know. He blinks. I know. Something ain't right. Now, his attitude is, well, he don't know what it is. No, I don't need to know what it is. Right. All I need to know is you ain't being 100. Right. You see what I'm saying? I know him. And so what happens is I'm like, he's one of those cats that he's going to have a bright future. I'm going to see to it. He just got to suffer first. Right. Because his whole attitude is like, we rich. Yeah. You know, we all right. You know, right. So you might come to me and you might need something. You might do a little work for me here or there and you might need something. He'll get that money in his pocket and then he looking for vacation. Right. That's his problem. Right.
Y'all got to get ready to go, but I will say this, and I don't know if you know. Please send me the We Rich t-shirts because he has to We Rich. He has to do We Rich. We have the We Rich t-shirts. Yeah.
You serious?
I'm serious.
I'm gonna whip your ass. I know. I know. You better not. You better not even think about having it.
T-shirts, hoodies, crew necks.
Yeah, they already done. Yeah, I already seen the pictures. Make sure you send me one of the We Rich t-shirts, man. Steve, they pressing me. You gotta go. Love you, bro. bro. Thank you so much, man. John.
Man, get out my face. I'm gonna whip your ass. I'm gonna whip your
John,
ass.
put your Instagram in my joint. John's hilarious. Thanks, Steve. I love you, bro.
Same here.
Thank you so much, man.